begin to take the roof cover off, there were about 3 dozen screws on the roof and a ton of sealant that we had to take up at the time of when we were removing this. As you see here, we're finishing up and we finally get the vent removed from the top of the camper here. And then we go ahead and start placing the foam gasket that is provided by OutEquipPro. We decided here to seal around all of the edges as we wanted to create a water barrier on both sides. There have been mixed reviews online on if this is needed or not, but we decided to be extra cautious and use more lap sealant than not. mindful when you are getting this on the roof, as it does weigh about 45 pounds. I had my son to help me, and this is what it looks like when it's placed on the roof. Now if you look at this next picture here, the vents that you see are what you do not want on the outside of your gasket. In the instructions it says that there's about a 2 1/4 to 3 1/4 spacing that you need to have from your inside 14 by 14 wall. This second picture shows that you do not see any of those vents from the previous picture that was pointed to when you have the unit installed. This is a very important point for when you guys are installing these units, so the water from those vents does not come into your camper. This is where the install starts to get interesting for users that have thick roofs. All of the tools that are provided by OutEquipPro are mainly made for van builds, and we had about a 3-inch thick roof, and we had to account for that. We went back and forth on getting all thread and extending it down to the interior roof, but if you notate your install instructions, it does say that they do not want you to do that in an RV situation. So after going about and looking at this for a few moments, we decided that we were going to notch some of the interior support structures inside of the roof of the camper. Did this with a awl tool, and as you can see from the video, we did small notches. It had no effect on the rigidity of the roof and didn't compromise anything. We repeated this process that you're seeing on both sides, and I went ahead and went down and slowed down the video to show you what exactly we did here. We used the foam inserts that OutEquipPro provided, and as you can see, the cross members to support and sandwich the outside unit to the inside of the roof. Here's a view of the output of the unit. We used an extension for an HVAC duct that fit around the output of the OutEquipPro. We used HVAC tape so it creates a bond and it's airtight. When you put the control panel with 6/32 all threads that you see there, it creates an airtight chamber so you don't get a mixing of air during your cycle.